She was just 24 years old when the world she knew was shattered by war, and Nazi Germany invaded her homeland. Lyudmila Pavlichenko, aka Lady Death, was a history student with dreams of becoming a teacher, but life had other plans for her. In the summer of 1941, Nazi Germany launched its brutal invasion of the Soviet Union. Cities burned, families were torn apart, and Lyudmila Pavlichenko, a quiet university student from Kiev, was faced with a choice that would define the rest of her life. She could run, or she could fight, and she chose to fight. Before the war, she had also trained as a sharpshooter in a paramilitary sport. She never imagined those skills would make her one of the most feared snipers in human history. When she volunteered for the Soviet Red Army, the recruitment officers laughed at her. They told her to become a nurse, but Lyudmila refused. She demanded to fight, and so they handed her a rifle. It didn't take long for her commanders to see she wasn't just another recruit. In her very first battle, she killed 2 enemy soldiers with ease. Her talent was undeniable. Soon, she was sent to the front lines, the most dangerous and brutal battles of World War II. Over the next year, Lyudmila Pavlichenko became a legend. She often worked alone, crawling through the dirt for hours, even days, to find the perfect position. She waited in silence in the heat and cold, in the mud and blood, and when she fired, she rarely missed. They started calling her Lady Death. By the end of her service, she had 309 confirmed kills, and many of those were enemy snipers, trained marksmen who had been sent specifically to kill her. But numbers only tell part of the story. Lyudmila wasn't just a ruthless sniper. She was a woman who carried the weight of every life she took. In interviews later in life, she said, "Every German who stayed alive meant death for my children later. That's why I shot." War hardened her, but it also left deep scars that never fully healed. She also lost many friends, and she nearly lost her own life. A mortar blast seriously wounded her, sending her away from the front lines and out of active combat. She didn't return to fight again, but her story was far from over. The Soviet government sent her on a goodwill tour to the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom. In 1942, she stood beside Eleanor Roosevelt and spoke to crowds of thousands, urging them to open a second front in Europe and help defeat Nazi Germany. When she met American reporters, they didn't know what to make of her. Instead of asking about the war, they asked her if she wore makeup on the front lines. They asked if women soldiers were allowed to wear nail polish. She stared back at them and said, "I wear my uniform with honor. It has medals on it, not powder." At just 25 years old, Lyudmila Pavlichenko was a global icon of courage and strength. And yet, behind the tough exterior, there was still the young woman who had once dreamed of a peaceful life as a teacher. Lyudmila Pavlichenko died in 1974 at the age of 58. She was buried with full military honors. And in Russia and Ukraine, her story is still told today. But around the world, very few people know the name Lyudmila Pavlichenko. They know names like Lady Death. They know numbers like 309 confirmed kills. But they don't always know the human being behind those numbers. She wasn't just a sniper. She was a daughter, a student, a patriot, a woman who chose to fight because she had no other choice. And in choosing to fight, she became one of the deadliest snipers in history and a symbol of resilience that continues to inspire. Imagine what it took to lie in the dirt, motionless, as enemy soldiers passed by within inches. Imagine holding your breath, your hands steady on cold steel, knowing that one mistake could cost you your life. And then imagine doing it again the next day, and the next, and the next. That was her life. And for all she gave, for all she lost, we remember her today. Lyudmila Pavlichenko, Lady Death, the woman who hunted Nazis and won. If you want to hear more stories of history's forgotten heroes, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the History Fanatics channel.